You know, we talk all the time in the Wing Chun community, and we hear it all the time, right? When people ask us the question, hey, how come you don't see Wing Chun? Wing Chun doesn't work in MMA. Wing Chun doesn't work in a fight. You don't see Wing Chun working. And there's two standard answers that we always give. And that's it. Number one is, well, if you see Wing Chun working, it's not good Wing Chun, because we've differentiated. If you want to see the Bong Sao, if you want to see the Pak Sao or the Tan Sao, then it's not real Wing Chun. And then people fight back with, Tony Ferguson and Anderson Silva. Well, they used Wing Chun in a fight, so we saw it there. There's a lot of truth to that. Wing Chun, like any fighting, is sloppy. There's a lot of times somebody can do a fantastic, perfect kickboxing, boxing, or MMA, or a Muay Thai combination that is applied sloppily, but it's still applied. The second answer that we almost give cookie cutter is, well, it's not the martial artist, the fighter. It's not so martial artist, the fighter. Let me tell you something. I'm 50. And yeah, my Wing Chun works. It's as simple as that. And for several reasons. Number one, it's because I have life experience. It's because I've been in fights. Have I been in hundreds of street fights? No. I grew up and I worked in the restaurant and bar industry after I wrestled. So I came from wrestling, and number one, I wasn't afraid to get mixed up, get in close, have my face punched or elbowed or shucked off or whatever. I never had that fear of shit, and that got me into the nightclub industry, where my short man's disease also went, damn, I got to get in some fights. I was a bartender, but when the fights broke out, I jumped in, and I loved to fight. It's not healthy. No, it is healthy to say. If you're a male, testosterone, you love to fight, it is what it is. It's what we're built DNA for. So I know my Wing Chun works because I can make it work. A lot of people, especially in the day of YouTube and social media martial arts forums, they don't know how to fucking fight. It's theory upon theory upon theory, and I have been guilty of those mother effing forums for almost 20 years now. This won't work. That won't work. Bruce Lee said this. You're Wing Chun. It's the same old garbage and shit. But let's say, for argument's sake, that Wing Chun, your Wing Chun works. I don't care who you train under. Let's say that you have taken all of the good from it and made it applicable, and you're successful in fighting. There's one martial art that as a Wing Chun practitioner, Wing Chun fighter, Wing Chun enthusiast, especially if you're fighting, you need to be fucking terrified of. Now let's define fighting first, right? I don't care if it's street fighting, and I don't care if it's MMA. I do not care. Both are going to be more aggressive applications of your martial art, your Wing Chun, outside of the comfort of your own training facility, right? Is what it is. So that being said, first we need to define, is this a controlled environment? Are there rules? Are there pads? Are there gloves? What is an MMA fight? In my opinion, an MMA fight, a mixed martial arts fight, even a boxing fight, takes fighting all the way to the edge of where, like, really the criminal mind, if you will, or the I'm talking about the person who gets driven right to the point of where self-defense is crucial, because not even a lot of you are willing to do self-defense, gets to, and limits it right there. So do I think that MMA still is MMA if you remove like gloves and refs? Yeah, I do, because there's a mutual understanding that neither one of those guys want to truly cause great bodily harm or the loss of life. There is a competition. A lot of times they hate each other. There is that testosterone build. Yeah, I'm going to hurt you, but there's a mutual respect. You do not have that in a lot of the circumstances of what we would call street fights. Now, the biggest difference between street fights and MMA or boxing or professional controlled fighting is these are people who are trained. They are trained. What do we have in MMA? We have a kicking, we have a striking, we have a grappling. Those are the major three components of what it is. It's a controlled environment. There is mental preparation, and there's time, right? X amount of minutes, rest in between rounds, all this. It is what it is. The real difference when it comes to street fighting, most people think that it's going to be a controlled environment. And that's just more of a huffing up contest, right? For those who are truly males, like my generation was the last generation that was allowed to get into bar fights before really facing some serious police and court accountability. But you went up, you huffed up in each other's face. It was a lot of posturing. Fuck you, man, blah, blah, blah. You know, grabbing of the wrist to prevent the other guy wound up swinging on you, pushing. It was, there was either sucker punches or there was shoving, which always resulted with on the ground fighting. And then you had MMA, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu get big on the scene. And a lot of guys curbed their bullshit because they didn't want to get embarrassed by people who actually knew Jiu-Jitsu when most fights did go to the ground in that aspect. And most fights go to the ground because people do not know how to stay on their balance. They don't know how to keep their balance when it comes to fighting. So that being said, street fight, one of the biggest things, if we really strip away the street fight, because people think like this is a street fight, right? Two combatants who come in, and it does. You're looking at a lot more risk of danger because you get hit with a well-placed punch, you know, based on the bone that's in somebody's hand who knows how to hit. You wind up hitting on the ground, you crack your head in the pavement. You know, you're looking at some serious life-changing events that goes on. So again, I think beyond MMA, when you get to the street fight, it is a hatred usually for one another, either a growing hatred, hey, meet me behind the bike rack after school, 3 p.m., right? Or it's I bumped into you, two guys shoulder bump, fuck you, this and that. Normally, it's a lot of posturing. However, one of the biggest components to a street fight or a non-MMA fight, could be a backyard MMA fight, could be a sanctioned MMA fight, but the biggest component is ambush. Ambush. You see in street fights so many times sucker punches, blindside punches, punches from behind, people just getting jumped in and not even involved in the fight. And you see some extremely untrained people throwing wild punches. And a lot of the times, this will be my argument for Wing Chun people who sit there and say, well, I'm going to hit him with 12-second fight or 12 punches in a second. That's going to knock him out. Well, dude, go watch some videos and watch people getting punched in the face and they don't get knocked out. So when you punch somebody 10, 15 times in the face and they're still standing and you're like, damn, what's my Wing Chun doing? That's a big wake-up call, right? Are you really willing to put the fox out of somebody's throat in Wing Chun? Because we talk all the time. Wing Chun is about taking breath consciousness of life. You can't breathe, you can't fight. You're not you get knocked out, you can't fight. And if you're not alive, you can't fight, right? We talk about that to make it so this is the most violent art in the world. You're like, here are these big haymakers. And the point is yes, Wing Chun has a massive amount of place in true self-defense. Where society is today, I don't know if it can be done because I don't care if you got a guy with a knife or a gun and you use your Wing Chun and you wind up, giving them a little bit of a trip to the TPA, the Throat Punch Academy, and they wind up losing their life, but it's perfectly self-defense. We know how the courts work. You're going to get arrested. You're going to wind up having sitting in an evidence room with a detective asking you to give out a statement. And you better lawyer up and you better go that route. But you will get prosecuted probably and hopefully released and vindicated. So again, the two biggest aspects or nature of Wing Chun when it comes to fighting are the context of where we're putting it. Street fight or MMA. And the bottom line is neither fucking matter. Neither fucking matter. You should be able to make your Wing Chun apply 100% of the time, no matter the environment. Now, you've seen the people bring their stuff into MMA for Wing Chun, and they're going to use it. And it's the stance, and it's the Wing Chun versus Wing Chun. I never agreed with gloving up and putting a friggin' headgear on. It makes no sense whatsoever. But usually it turns down into the tag, I got you game. And sometimes it's okay. A lot of the times it's not. A lot of times we go, ooh, see, it works. But it's a controlled environment. So for the most part, when people enter in to MMA or a Wing Chun type of MMA contact, it results into striking. That's what it really does. It's not anything else. They stop it when it gets to the ground, and it's literally who has the more effective punch to take someone's balance. Simply because when you wind up padding up gloves and headgear, you cannot, I'm sorry, for the most part, it's designed to make it less injurious, but You cannot deliver maximum power from you into somebody else to see how effective your Wing Chun is in a striking method. And don't, for the love of God, don't think these Chi Sao competitions are a representation of what Wing Chun is. It's the most fucking embarrassing thing for our art. It's literally nothing than an extension of the famous scene from Enter the Dragon between O'Hara and Bruce Lee with the Kyu Sao, Choi Sao, wrist to wrist, the reference point, if you will. You're starting at a safe point of contact like we see here, and then all shit goes out the window once a little bit of pressure comes in. Your Wing Chun is gone. You get nervous. You don't want to get embarrassed because you want to look like the master of everything that you've done in your controlled environment, and you have no footwork. You have no distance measuring. You have no balance. You have no pressure testing. And you become so stiff simply because it's not an environment you're in, right? You don't know the other guys from the school that you came into, and all your Wing Chun bullshit goes right out the window. And you discover when you get in these Chi Sao competitions, man, Pak Sao doesn't work like it does in class. Lap Sao doesn't work like it does in class. And the only true thing when it comes down to pressure testing your Chi Sao, which you focus so much time on, is disengaging on an angle, if you will, extending a strike to where you get to the point where you can wind up grabbing and doing some damage by either pushing into a wall, choking a throat, holding on and punching. The biggest thing for Wing Chun, and Chi Sao tournaments have always exposed this, is you could see that Chi Sao, the way that you've been doing it, doesn't work. Your 15 million different chain punches don't fucking work. What Wing Chun needs to be is getting to the body, the core, because that controls everything, taking somebody, Po Pai Chun, like Gary Lamb does, into the corner of a wall, out of a window, into an immovable object, and then continue a barrage of strikes on them. Or it needs to be getting in, clearing a path to grabbing by the throat, by the shirt collar, by the back of the head like the wooden dummy, and blasting in strikes, elbows, knees, whatever. It's all Wing Chun. You guys are so embarrassed to show that your Wing Chun is close quarters, get in, hold, and strike, that, that's Muay Thai. No, it's not. It's the same shit that it's always been. But when you try to sit there and keep yourself in the Chi Sao game, you fucking embarrass yourself, and you embarrass your Wing Chun. We've seen this shit where a Wing Chun guy goes up against somebody else who's got some kind of skill, and it just looks like garbage. It's just the entire, let me show you how good my drill skill set is. That's really, it's time to have this conversation. Most of you out there are looking like you, well, that's the shirt I always wear. It says Wing Chun, touch me in your first lessons for free. That simply means that we have the mindset that there has to be some type of contact offered us in Mun Sao hand, asking hand, right? Mun Sao, Wu Sao, asking and answer. Unless that contact is made, we can't show you our real Wing Chun. That's a lie. Your Wing Chun needs to be comfortable with giving the entry of between you and another subject, and that means you take a punch. You eat a punch, you eat an elbow, you eat a knee, a kick. That's that's fighting. What did you get involved for? A knitting class? So when we get the whole Wing Chun versus XYZ, you always see that it's let's make the contact first, and then let me show you what I don't know. And we've had proof over the years where some of the most well-known Wing Chun instructors all of a sudden throw their Wing Chun right out the fucking window and resort to something that just looks like brawling. It happens all the time in the Wing Chun community. When you're pressure tested, it is what it is. You're not looking to do what you're going to do in class, on scene. Oh my gosh, this is what the fighting is. That's not the case. It's just like, I would say, when you see any other martial art, karate, kickboxing, karate, taekwondo, when they wind up getting stressed out and pressure tested, they resort to kickboxing. A lot of bouncing, a lot of moving, a lot of evading out of the way for stuff, and all the crap that they learned and spent a lifetime of perfecting is out the window because they have no confidence in what they've drilled because they don't drill it for the sake of being fucking worldly effective. It's as simple as that. So again, when you're in Wing Chun, you need to remember there's some very big ass factors that come into a fight. An adrenaline dump, lack of oxygen, nervousness, scared apprehension. All these things are going to change the way that your Wing Chun looks in a demo on a YouTube video. So the next thing you know, your hands are shaking because holy shit, all the adrenaline I've got, I've never been in a fight before, and your Wing Chun doesn't look like Wing Chun. And then you're losing oxygen and you're going, oh my gosh, this is a real fight. All of a sudden, my body mechanics aren't, but there's no tan sao in what I'm doing. There's no pak sao in what I'm doing. It's sloppy as shit, and I'm pushing and I'm pulling, but there's no pushing and there's no pulling in Wing Chun, even though we showcase via lap sao or dummy form application that there is a shit ton of pushing and pulling in Wing Chun, i.e., or in other words, anti-grappling garbage. So don't think that if you get into a real fight, you're going to have time. You're going to have peripheral vision. You're going to get tunnel vision. You're going to have body control of your body mechanics when you get into a real fight, MMA or street fighting, and your cookie cutter, precision, just laser focused Wing Chun you think you're going to put out is going to exist. It will not. All right, so what is it? What's the biggest martial art style or system that's a threat to Wing Chun? Is it boxing? These guys have lightning fast hands. They've got better conditioning than most athletes on the planet. They've got footwork. They know how to deliver a punch into an opponent and leave you going, where the fuck are they, when it's time for your counterattack. I did 3 smoker boxing events back in 2003 and 2004, and I was 1 and 2. I lost the decision for my first one. I won TKO, the guy they threw in the towel for the second one. And in the second one, they stopped the second round because I was getting the living shit kicked out of me by a Golden Gloves boxer. And it was fantastic. I didn't know. Every time I went to throw a punch, the guy wasn't there. It was unbelievable. The way that I sat there and kept myself in a survival pace, because we wore headgear and we wore 18-ounce pillows on our hands, big gloves. The way that I survived it was with Wing Chun pressuring. So because I couldn't counter punch, I was not a boxer. I was a wrestler and I was a Wing Chun fighter. So the only way that I actually survived the fights that long, won one, went to 3 rounds with another, and then lasted as long as I did with the Golden Gloves boxer, was simply due to the fact that I was able to sit there, and once contact was made, quick jab, a combination doesn't make a difference. If you've ever boxed in a boxing tournament or MMA, it's so incredible. The lights are insane. You've got obstruction via the mask. You've got these big 2, if I'm doing the Munsao Wusao, I've got 2 big bowling balls in front of me that obstruct my view. So the only way I could feel where the person was through our sensitivity. And at that point, I'd been doing Wing Chun for several years. I wasn't tested outside of law enforcement or bar fighting to a degree. So there was not a setting that I was used to, but still, the only reason that I was able to stay on my feet, the only reason I didn't get knocked down, the only reason I had was the sensitivity. Those guys, when you could feel it, oh, you know where to go. But again, the Golden Gloves boxer, fantastic guy. I believe his name was Craig Harris from Chicago Housing Authority all those years ago. Class act. He was the professional. And when I would feel contact, oh, there's my strike, he's on my flank. He was that superior with his footwork. So the only way, if in a street fight, that I would ever be able to stand contact with him is to use that contact, that sensitivity, use my environment, back him into a corner where he can't get out of it, grab, hold, something like that. But if it's pure boxing, no, you're gonna be outclassed in a big open space if you're doing Wing Chun, because you're gonna be chasing that contact. They're gonna be in and out, in and out, in and out. You're still safe because if you got a strong chin, you could take the hits, and you're still safe because you're looking at striking, and striking, unless it's precisionally done, unless you got a weak chin, you're probably going to stay on your feet. But if it's pure boxing on Wing Chun, you know what? It's going to be a 50-50, but I'm going to put the favor in the boxing simply because open area, you're going to lose. They have more ability to spread out. We don't like backing up. We don't like changing angles on a retreat aspect. We like absorbing space, swallowing space. But if it's in a closer area, a room, a room where they've got desks and chairs and fucking, or a bar, yeah, I think that the boxer's going to get their ass kicked by the Wing Chun guy. That's my personal opinion. So boxing, no, it's not the most dangerous martial art that Wing Chun should be worried about. Well, clearly it's got to be Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, right? a BJJ black belt against a Wing Chun person. Sadly, there's going to be a lot of validity to this because Wing Chun is not good at handling pressure the way that they think they do. Again, this is why I'm so fucking thankful for my background, because I know what it's like to take pressure on my core from a limb, from a shoulder, from a neck, and it not affect my balance. Wrestling did that. When it came to Wing Chun, it was like, all right, that's great. You guys are in a position where it's most of you in Wing Chun are too focused on striking, and you're too focused with your structure. Your structure is too solid and stiff, especially those of you who are in the 70-30, 80-20, or 90-10 aspect of your leg position. If you're not in the 50-50 with the concept of head over hips over feet and being able to separate your waist and your hips when contact is made, you're fucked. You're fucked against BJJ. A lot of you don't have that. Yes, when you get on the ground, I think there's a lot of application that Wing Chun can apply from a soft relaxation to avoid being caught up in the game that these jiu-jitsu guys play. I think where they're dominant is they know how to use their legs better than you do. You might be great. If you are phenomenal at chi sao, I'm confident that if it was only upper body to upper body when it comes to BJJ, you'd fare very well. I truly do. They understand positioning better than you do with their legs. So again, what you're lacking in Wing Chun is you're lacking the confidence to use your legs not only against a boxer in an upper standing movement, but now when you go to the ground, they have superior leg work to yours. You could do all the chi gurk you want and sticking legs, and that's fine. It's great. But for the most part, your mentality is focused on striking. That gives them the edge. Now, I'll say this a million times. Wing Chun is not a grappling art. It is an anti-grappling art. And the second you're involved with a grappler and you can start to feel how to negate their sinking, their dissension for a takedown, it's like, oh my God, it's incredible. Now I understand that you have to get involved with a grappler and you have to sit there and remove. All right, I'm not going to strike a grappler. What's my next option? Chi sao. You can chi sao with somebody who does not know chi sao. That simply means you just don't start in a neutral position, right? One on the outside, one on the inside. Your chi sao comes out of anywhere. The first touch, oh, okay. You have to be unbelievably comfortable and understand your body position, your body movement. And to be honest, that chi sao will help you survive avoiding being taken down by somebody in BJJ. That's it. Your reflexes, your chi sao will teach you to avoid the takedown, not engage in it. So when it goes back to the boxing aspect, your man sao, wu sao, your energy will teach you where the target is while the flurry of attacks are coming in. Your chi sao game will help you to avoid being taken down. Does not mean, I'm going to tell you this flat out, do not think against a BJJ, a martial artist, that you're going to reposition for a strike. It's not going to happen, because if you're looking at the reality that most strikes do not end fights, your finger jab to the eye is not going to do so. You may get them to go, oh my God. If anything, if you're lucky, it should be a gorilla grip to the throat, a gorilla grip to the testicles. I don't care if you fist up the ass. You need to be as brutal and unfair as possible before they break your arm or choke you out. That's the only way. Your strikes will not work. However, I keep saying this, Wing Chun is not limited to strikes. If that was the case, then structure would not matter for how we take pressure. So, no, BJJ is not the most dangerous martial art that Wing Chun should be terrified of. Oh, well, Izzo, you're going to be biased and you're going to say that wrestling is the most dangerous martial art that Wing Chun should be afraid of. No, I'm not. Now, we have folk style, you have freestyle, you have Greco-Roman, and for the most part, freestyle is probably the most recognized for Olympics, for big name competition. Folk style is still going to be college and high school, and that was my expertise. Greco-Roman, I didn't get involved in, and definitely freestyle, I didn't because I love to roll too much, which would have my coach purposely kept me out of freestyle because I would have given up too many back points and lost by points way too many times. But when it comes down to wrestling, remember, it's to get to the pin or the points. So very rarely do we have in today's day and age the wrestlers who are doing the takedowns and let him back up and take him down, let him back up and take him down, let him back up. We rarely have that. For the most part, it's just mad awareness, and it's trying to deal with not being taken down. But when you go down, get in a position. So unlike BJJ, you want to go to your back in BJJ, and you're in a very safe position to wind up working your skill set. Remember, you have no balance. You're on the ground. You don't need any balance. But in wrestling, you want to go to your stomach. You don't want to give back points. In my opinion, wrestling, as far as the sport, wrestling is tougher. And I know it's going to offend a lot of you. Wrestling is a tougher sport than Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Wrestlers are just insane. They're tenacious. We are some of the greatest athletes on the planet, and it is what it is. No, I know a lot of you are going to say, okay, so why not wrestling? Well, the thing about wrestling is when you're going to get involved with a wrestler, you already know. You already know, especially in Wing Chun. There's a chance, and I highly doubt it's ever going to happen, with a BJJ guy that he's going to drop to his ass in a fight, start scooting towards you. I know we all like to make fun of that, but I don't think so. But a wrestler, you're going to see, they're going to drop low. You're going to see their hips pivot. A lot of wrestlers do not have the whole head over hips over feet aspect. And I'm going to tell you from personal experience, if you know true Wing Chun and how to apply it, especially when it comes to wrestling, it's very, very difficult for a wrestler to take down somebody who knows Wing Chun because you have angles. You know how to manipulate their spine. This is my biggest suggestion. Not MMA, not Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but if you want to truly discover Wing Chun, take it into wrestling. You will learn more about the pressure you receive from a fighter going into your core and go, holy shit. It's like the hangers. If you want to hang 100-pound photo on your wall or a print, they make the ones that are like L shapes, right? Or like a upside down 7. And what it does is the weight of the hook puts the pressure back into the wall, and the wall takes all of the pressure from the painting that's 100 pounds instead of the hook going down. Because if you nail a little piece of metal into a wall at 100 pounds, it's going to rip it right down. But if the pressure is going back into the wall, you're going to go, oh my God. In my opinion, wrestling for Wing Chun is crucial, not to learn wrestling, but to discover, oh my God, my Wing Chun just leveled up because I know now how not to be taken down. My game as a younger wrestler was to manipulate position to take somebody down. Go after the takedown, go after the takedown, go after the takedown. My position as a wrestler now is to negate your position to take me down and give me the advantage to take you down if I'm a wrestler. But as a Wing Chun fighter, my job is to negate your takedown attempt on me using anti-grappling, anti-takedown defense that absolutely lives in Wing Chun, and then reposition myself for escape, evasion, striking, whatever it is. If I did not know grappling, I would not grapple somebody. But since I know anti-grappling from Wing Chun, because I have Wing Chun background, I know it's not fair, I know exactly how to stay on my feet at all times with wrestlers, even if they're going to wind up using the lower half. Now, for the most part, Greco-Roman don't use the lower half, and when it comes to freestyle and Greco-Roman, you want the big throws for the back points and whatnot, but these guys are not used to the structure that Wing Chun has. So no, wrestling, although it is extremely one of the loves of my life, is not the most dangerous art that a Wing Chun fighter should be terrified of. We got some honorable mentions here. Taekwondo, no Would I want to fight somebody who does Taekwondo? Absolutely not, man. You land one of those kicks to the head, you are now a vegetable. You're a pile of pudding on the ground. There is not one way I would want anybody who is, I'm talking like at least does 20 years in Taekwondo, and you think you're going to have a Gansao, high-low Gansao. No, you're screwed. You're absolutely screwed. It's not going to happen. Taekwondo is probably one of the most slept on martial arts in the world since MMA came out. We criticize it, we mock it, we laugh at. No, they are unbelievable technical fighters. The precision they're able to do and make and all this stuff, no. And especially, I'm talking, go look at the highlights of the Taekwondo from back in the 70s. Damn, those guys were fighters. But no, honorable mention, Taekwondo, great sport, great. I'm sorry, I don't mean to disrespect you. This is a great sport, but it's a fantastic martial artist. And in a street fight circumstance, yeah, if you've got distance and somebody winds up does a kick to your head, you're going to be picking up your teeth. Nope, contrary to public or popular belief, guys, sorry, Muay Thai is not something I'm afraid of in Wing Chun. 90% of the time that these guys wind up striking, they're at a distance where you're put where they have maximum power. They have some insane leg kicks. Why the fuck are you standing there and not crowding them? They have some insane elbows. Dear God, why are you not taking their space? They have some insane punches. What are you fucking doing? If you stand there and trade blow for blow as a Wing Chun person to a Muay Thai, yeah, man, give them your lunch money. Just do that. But basic negated crowding position in Wing Chun is going to keep you in a position of safety against somebody Muay Thai. Even with their whole hand behind your neck and doing the whole and bringing it down into the knees, we've got answers for that in Wing Chun as well, too. So no, Muay Thai, it's not on my list of martial arts that Wing Chun should be afraid. Pick a hard style of karate, Shotokan, or I can't pronounce the other two that starts with a K. One starts with a G. I just can't pronounce it, and I'm not going to disrespect it. Pick either one of those two, and I'm just not going to fight them. I had minor experience with Shotokan karate when I was 19. I was leaving wrestling. I was looking for something else to do. This is before I found Wing Chun, and I did 6 to 8 months of Shotokan karate. It wasn't for me, but oh my God, those are some of the hardest hitters I've ever sparred or trained with. If you're in the Chicago area, still in my opinion, and it's just a personal opinion, John D. Pasquale, who runs Illinois Shotokan Karate. If I'm 50, no disrespect to you, Sensei D. Pasquale, but I believe you got to be in your 70s. I still, to this day, would not take a punch from that man. There's no way in hell. You could pay my medical bills and give me a hefty, 7-figure bonus. Maybe I would, but probably not. And his students are just incredible as well, too. He's got some lifelong dedicated teachers and students with that system, as do most people who get involved with this art. I had another friend of mine who years ago, he trained the hard style with the G. I can't pronounce it, so I'm not respecting him. And when we were at the gym we worked at together, part of his training routine after lifting weights was to go do heavy bag work. This man, we were listening. Every time he did it, it sounded like thunder. It was thunder. He no pads on, nothing gloved up, this and that. He would punch the 100-pound heavy bag, punch it, and it sounded like thunder. I'm not that worried about training techniques. I'm not worried about training style. I'm worried about the devastating contact that these fighters can make if they wind up making contact with you. In my opinion, the way that you and most people train Wing Chun, the way that most schools train Wing Chun are not even remotely close to being ready to taking a kick, a strike, a punch, an elbow, a knee from anyone in these hard style karates. But it's still not the number one martial art to be terrified of if you do Wing Chun. All right, before we get to the number one martial art that every Wing Chun person should be terrified of, go to Patreon. Izzo Wing Chun. We started it just this last week, and we are going to be opening up Training Hall, where I don't care what martial art you're in, what you're passionate about, once a month, the first Tuesday of every month, starting this July 1st, we are coming together as a community. We're going to talk. We're going to have conversations off of the forums. No comment bullshit. I'm talking we are interacting with each other, and we are improving and dedicating ourselves to the mastery of our martial arts through conversations and our passion for it. You want to feature your martial art, your school, then you got to be a member. You want to train with us? You want group training? Online training, it's available. Patreon.com/Izzo Wing Chun. You want to be part of a private session? You want to train in person? Izzo Wing Chun over on Patreon. Become a member today. No ifs, ands, or buts. If you are Wing Chun and you are chasing the limbs and you are doing all your kind of fancy Gan Sao, Pak Sao, Tan Sao, all that, you need to be utterly terrified of those who are involved with Judo. Judo is a slept-on martial art. It is probably the single greatest stand-up art that is out there that will take your fucking balance. Nothing better. There's nothing better. The second close would be Greco-Roman wrestling. That would be it, right? A lot of upper body. It's all upper body. You can't touch the legs in Greco-Roman. That's what makes Judo superior to Greco-Roman wrestling. When you're in Wing Chun, you guys are so focused on your straight blast, your chain punch, your Pak, and this. Somebody from Judo grabs you, they're immediately feeling your balance and your sensitivity the exact same way you are. They're committed in a way that you're not. While you're trying to break free of limbs, get past destructions, all this, they're still using their legs better than you do with your chi gurk to take your balance. You're not going to survive. They are just as close quarter combat as you are in your Wing Chun. I tell you, based on their mentality, they're probably better. They're probably better. When you get rid of the mat purposes on this too, if this is a street fight application and this is somebody who knows Judo and they're going to take you down, boom, there goes your head onto concrete. It's not good. It's not good. They are constantly moving and jockeying for position, taking your balance, and the second your balance is taken, they fucking own you. It's superior to BJJ. It's superior to wrestling. If you stick somebody who is so well trained in Judo versus a wrestler, I'm telling you, I'm giving the stand-up game to the Judo. It's giving it to the Judo. They can feel when that shot for the leg is coming down, and you can move. That was a superior thing that Wing Chun did give me for wrestling, which is the sensitivity. Oh, I could feel when you're going to, it's like how many blindfolded demonstrations do we do when we do Wing Chun that show us that all I could feel you when you're going to strike, we can move. It's perfect for wrestling. If you close your eyes and when you wrestle, Wing Chun, you can feel every time they're going to shoot for your legs. Like, oh shit. The problem is with the Judo guys, they look at how, watch this. Watch how he gets and straightens up the structure of the opponent and just takes him right down. Structure up, balance done. You can't in Wing Chun deal with this because you are not used to sinking your level, sinking your energy, letting go and just distributing it back into the earth. You don't spend enough time on Selam Tao. You don't. These guys, they are upper body masters where you live, where you say you live, while absolutely destroying your lower level. If you train in Wing Chun and you do not respect the Judo game, you are a fucking fool. I will tell you flat out, this is the only martial art that I wouldn't be afraid of because I have the anti-grappling and the grappling. But if I didn't, if I was going to start my journey all over again and I never knew wrestling, it would be Wing Chun and Judo. And then for me, after I learned the Judo, I would stay with the Wing Chun because in my opinion, I believe the Wing Chun is superior when it comes down to the letting go, right? Judo's committed. They grab, they're committed. If they don't grab, now all of a sudden they've got weapons like arms that can come at them. Don't grab lapel, they don't have you. The only fault or the only weakness in their armor that I see with Judo is their commitment to a grab on your clothing, on your person, on your body. That's your only chance that gives you a slight bit of edge over them because you're not committed to that. In Wing Chun, if you wound up having the brilliance and fortitude and foresight to understand the relationship between the grabbing game and the striking game in Wing Chun, I think you'd be fucking deadly. You'd be absolutely deadly. But this is my opinion. If you're somebody who, I mean, look at this. In Wing Chun, you're not ready. Look at them stretch you out and then take your balance. In Wing Chun, you wouldn't know what to do with this. Most of you out there are not trained by Sifus who have a damn clue what they're doing. Very few. Most of them are all just found the curriculum of some Sifu before them, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it comes down to real world application. No, you have to be able to know when to let go and go, shit. Now, how do I avoid my body structure from being locked up in a position where now I have no balance because I played their game? Getting involved with people who know how to do stand-up grappling in this area is going to improve your game. So, in my opinion, the #1 martial art that a Wing Chun practitioner needs to be fucking terrified of is Judo. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe to our Patreon. Pick a white shirt, gray shirt, black shirt. Would love to see you in the town of the great training hall, and go from there. Let's enjoy our passions together, spread the martial arts knowledge, and have a lot more fun with this. And guys, I appreciate you as always. Comment below. Let me know what you think in the comment section, and I'll see you on the next video.